Let's talk cars for a second. I got a little bit to rewind about. So this week I tweeted about Hyundai, and I think Andrew and I have had like little partial segments of this conversation before on Waveform, where it's like we see a couple of new Hyundais on the street now, and we're like, they look good. Yeah. Like they look real nice. They're not afraid to play with the lights. They have very distinctive like daytime running lights, and I don't know, there's something about them. I'm very, very impressed. And Hyundai has a reputation already in the US, but I feel like they're on this little glow up. Yeah. Right. So I've had this little back of the head like Hyundai thing. And then they came out with the Ioniq 5 and a Super Bowl commercial. And like we all keep seeing Ioniq 5s on the street now. And this is now probably number one on my list of electric cars that I haven't driven yet that I see and want to try. Because they're out there. People are driving them and they look pretty cool. So that's in the back of my head this whole time. Then we get this like concept, I think it's a concept. Yeah. Concept Hyundai car. It's a 2-door car. Hyundai makes this snazzy like promo reel and a photo shoot with them. So I guess it's renders and like a reel that they put together, but of the Envision 74, technically a hybrid EV. They'll say it'll combine hydrogen and pure battery. And it looks so sick. My take is it looks more like the DeLorean than the new DeLorean actually does.
Absolutely what I was thinking too, yeah.
Did you see these pictures?
Yeah.
I tweeted like, yeah, whoever's doing design for Hyundai, like keep
even
it up.
The interior. I will say what's interesting is that I think a lot of manufacturers have been trying to figure out like, all right, we're electrifying our lineup now. Let's make it look futuristic. But a lot of the car manufacturers, when they try to do that, it ends up just looking really tacky. Yeah. And somehow Hyundai has like taken, like even this car has like this LED pixel array for its headlights.
And just the daytime running lights. Again, like that, they're not afraid to mess with that.
Yeah. And then their angles too, like on the Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 6. It's like, it's very like tetrahedral, but it actually looks good.
Dude, if I saw this car on the street, I would be like, what is that? Yeah. That is sick.
The electric hydrogen mix is really interesting because hydrogen cars are really cool in concept because they only release water.
Right.
Water vapor. And then obviously electric cars can store and charge more energy or store more energy and are more efficient overall. But I mean, that's what do they mean by hybrid? Do they say what that means?
So the more I read into this, it's clear it's very concept. Like they just say it's going to be a hybrid and have these two methods, but don't really explain too much of how that would work. Also, the way I understand it. So I'm just going to read the motor1.com article. Technically, it's a hybrid EV, combines a hydrogen fuel cell with a battery to power a pair of electric motors. So the electric motors take power from both, one per wheel. Oh, sorry. One at each rear wheel, so it's just rear-wheel drive. Oh, my God. The result is a combined output of 671 horsepower, but with the individual motors at the back, Hyundai will explore various aspects of torque vectoring and an electric rear-wheel drive application. Hyundai also says the combination of hydrogen and fuel cell with batteries allows for the cooler temperatures. So I guess...
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting idea, actually.
It makes sense.
Can you use the water vapor that is the result of a hydrogen car to cool the battery?
I don't know. And I don't know if it'll be cool exhaust either.
Right.
So I'm not exactly sure.
Vapor.
To me, it just feels like there's going to be two plugs.
Probably is hot.
Yeah. But there's going to be two plugs on the car. Now you have to plug in to give it hydrogen and plug in to give it electricity.
I wonder if it will be like a current hybrid electric where you can use all gas and you could technically use all battery if you wanted to, but it's only got like 50 miles of range, but you don't have to use both.
Yeah, so in the current plug-in hybrid world, you can have a gas tank and an electric motor. And the electric motors you can charge by a plug-in, or you can just use the regeneration from what the gas engine system is doing. Yeah. Maybe that's also an option with hydrogen electric. You only really add hydrogen, and the electric battery, however big it is, gets recharged as you drive. Yeah. And you can plug in if you want. Maybe that's how it... Yeah. Either way, it's a concept car.
It looks like an 80s style.
It's all about the look.
Like Back to the Future. I immediately thought of Back to the Future when I saw this car, and like, I love this.
I want it. I want it to exist. Hyundai, if you're listening, this is prime.
Please bring
top end work right here.
Yeah.
All of the pictures. Also, I love that they decided to do because I'm pretty sure these are renders.
Yeah.
And I love that they decided to do renders in the rain of it, like driving around, rear wheel drive, like kicking the tires out on a track in the rain, in the storm. Like that is
even the wheels.
So sick.
Even the wheels have like this futuristic.
The wheels. Let's talk about the wheels for a second. Every new EV has to think about aero, right? And most of them have some sort of a version of aerodynamic wheels, aero caps, aero hubs, whatever, something about the wheel. They just need to not have a normal like 5-spoke wheel because that's very draggy. And most of them look pretty ugly.
Yeah.
You've seen the Model 3 and Model S's. I think it's ugly. I took mine off. I don't like them. But this, it's just a disc. And I assume if you push this around, this is a 670 horsepower car on a track. You need ventilation for the brakes. So I don't see this staying on in an actual track scenario. But purely visually, I love it.
Is that ventilation though?
So that's ventilation, but is that enough ventilation for a track day with maybe like steel brakes, carbon ceramic brakes maybe? I don't know. I don't know enough about like the logistics of making a car like this, but all I know is that's the best looking aero cap I've ever seen.
It looks amazing.
It's just a plate.
Yeah.
Frisbee.
I just like, a lot of these car manufacturers try to like make their electric stack look futuristic and it ends up just looking tacky, but somehow Hyundai manages to make it.
Hyundai like Sunday.
Hyundai like Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah. And then the wheel is actually like a racing wheel. It's like that Logitech racing wheel we have in the studio here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want this to exist.
This looks really cool.
If I saw
this,
this,
make this.
I don't know if there's any sort of price talk, but if I saw this on the street, I would immediately be like, I
love
that.
the 80s and I would straight up like I would trade in anything.
Yeah. This is a better done retro future car than the new DeLorean. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah. Which will probably not even ship. So
yeah, well, this is a concept car too, so that's another question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to the design. There is a second one that is a slightly different look. Let me find the name because this is also in the Motor One article. It is called the RN22E, based on the Ioniq 6, but it's a little more of like a sports car, normal EV two-door type thing. It still looks sick. It's got the big grille on the front. It's got the slot headlights. It definitely has Porsche vibes.
Yeah.
Porsche, which I like. I like Porsche.
I think I like the Ioniq 6 better than I like this car.
Better than this R22?
Yeah, is that a hot take?
Well, the Ioniq 6 is going to be real, and this is
that is definitely a benefit.
This is a concept, so I'm happy with both. I actually like this one better.
I would need to see the back of this car.
Of this RN22E?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Oh.
This is the back.
Ooh,
it looks like nice. It looks kind of like an AMG with the wing.
I think I still like the Ioniq 6 better.
Yeah. Ioniq 6 is nice.
I'll take it.
Talk about a glow up. I am very impressed.
I saw somebody, we'll have to find it and maybe we can put it in the show notes, but I saw someone post like a history of Hyundai.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hyundai like Sunday. Hyundai, and it was like the generations, like every 10 years, their design. And they actually do that kind of like textile design way back until like the 70s or 60s or something. Mm-hmm. And then before that, they're pretty ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah. They look like cheap cars for a while, and then eventually they start looking pretty good. And I've never even given them like a second thought until their EV lineup started to come out.
I think that's key. So a lot of these companies, underrated, they have an opportunity to basically completely rebrand where they sit in the market with the first EVs that they make.
Right.
And so Hyundai is such a good example because we have, at least in the US, we have a reputation that we assign to Hyundai, which is these are $20,000 to $35,000 mid-range budget, affordable economy cars. And that's kind of all we think about them.
Yeah.
The second the Ioniq 5 started showing up, I was like, okay, that's different. Yeah. That is a like sort of futuristic, practical, cool EV. Mm-hmm. And now everything they've come out with since then, I kind of look at in this new light. So everything electric that they do can fall under that new umbrella, even though it's still Hyundai. And that's a huge opportunity. I don't know if the legacy car manufacturers with huge reputations in markets like the US think about it the same way. Like Ford, they're just going to name it a Mustang, whatever, Mustang Mach-E, fine.
F-150 Lightning.
Right. But if you were looking for the opportunity to rebrand, like Hyundai might have been, and like maybe, what's another good example? Somebody who probably wants smaller ones. Alfa Romeo's not big here.
Kia.
Kia is having a sort of a renaissance.
Kia is having a little bit of a renaissance.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of underrated about like this new generation of things that we're seeing.
That's a good point. Especially in the US. Like I'm sure they have stronger pulls in their like native countries but I mean like even I guess Toyota doesn't really need to do that. They haven't really done it. I'm kind of disappointed in Toyota so far because they only have like the BZ4X, which has gotten really bad reviews so far. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll be glad if there's a lot more good options on the market because for a while it was like, I would like to see Honda do this too. Has Honda done anything?
Electric? I haven't seen much. I was just behind a Honda.
That's a little depressing.
I was behind a Honda Ridgeline pickup truck today on the way to the studio, and I was like, I haven't seen one of those in a while.
Those look so weird.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I think also Toyota has a bunch of like stuff on the horizon. We've talked about like that mystery lineup where they showed a bunch of like, oh yeah, this is a Supra but electric, but also 10 years in the future.
It feels like they're giving up their lead though because like the default like affordable pretty good car was like the Camry and then the Honda Accord, and I feel like neither of those companies they're kind of letting these other companies eat their market share.
They're definitely sitting on those, and they'll still sell for a while.
Yeah,
but at some point. Because there's also a huge price factor.
Totally.
When Hyundai goes from like their economy roots to like the Ioniq 4, Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6, like those are 45 plus. Like they're a different price bracket.
True.
So you change your reputation, you get to change your price. I think it's really, really hard to make a good EV at that price right now. So supply chain issues, battery tech, like that stuff may change over time, and maybe someday we'll get a good $20,000 EV. Right. But since it doesn't exist yet, I guess it's mandatory to change your reputation if you want to sell it at a different price.
Camry at $20K is really good, but like an EV at $20K is not going to be the...
Like a $20K EV today...
Does that exist?
Would probably not be good.
Exists.
With the current tech, it would be like a half the battery size. It would just not be good.
Yeah.
So... Hey, thanks for watching this Waveform clip. I just want you to know that if you don't like this clip and aren't already subscribed, then the next package that arrives at your house may or may not be a glitter bomb from me. Just saying.
Yikes.
That's it.